Hey everyone, I have a knife I wanted to show you today. This is brand new to me over the last few days. It's the Microtech Whale Shark, and this is the one with a Stonewash blade. My first Microtech. This is a manual action flipper design. Has G10 for the handles and a titanium, what they call a subframe lock, which I'll kind of talk about a little bit. And the blade on this is a Stonewash S35VN blade that is about 3.6 inches. Here it is closed. You can see it has this really large pivot here with the proprietary Microtech screw. It's got 3 other smaller proprietary screws along the back, which screw into a titanium back bar, is what they call this. It's basically a backspacer that has these little grooves and indentations that are kind of milled out, which give it a really nice look and add a lot of strength to the knife right here, being that it goes the full length, and then down at the end you have a little lanyard hole. Then on this side you have a stainless steel pocket clip, and I know that on some websites it's listed as titanium, but I tested this out with a magnet, and it is a magnetic surface, and titanium is not magnetic, so I do know that this is steel. And then this is a titanium lock bar with a steel insert. So you can kind of see that insert right there. The lockup is really nice at about 30%, I would say. And when the knife is closed, the blade goes all the way to the very end of the handle scales here, which is very nice. And it's pretty nicely centered. It's a little bit off to the left here, but I don't even think you would notice that so much if it weren't for the fact that this back bar has a little V cutout for the blade to sit in, and you can see it's a little bit more to the left. Of course, with the proprietary screws, there's no way to adjust for that, so it just kind of is what it is, or you could send it back to Microtech. But it's not touching anything, and it's really not an issue. The action on this knife is really smooth, as the knife runs on a ceramic ball bearing. And I've been kind of getting a lot of these flippers with bearing systems, like the Kershaw Tilt and the 560 and the 561. You can kind of see these 3 knives side by side. There's a little comparison. Certainly the Whale Shark is a very different knife compared to these, just in terms of its overall design. I know that Microtech licensed this design from a somewhat famous knife designer. I don't really know off the top of my head. I'm sure I probably should research that before I do the video, but anyway, these are just basically my overall impressions of this knife, and other people have mentioned. I think it's a Chinese designer, and it does kind of have an overall kind of Chinese design where it's kind of this curvature. A couple things about this knife that I find interesting. First of all, I mentioned that the entire knife is, the handle anyway, is G10. And this G10 has a really nice texture. I don't know if it's media blasted or, you know, how they finished the G10, but it has a little bit of grip to it, not much. It's mostly smooth, nicely contoured, and it just has a really fine feel to it. It feels very nice in the hand. And it has this really large leaf-shaped blade. The blade is disproportionate to the size of the handle, I think. But not in a bad way. I like it. It's kind of cool. But this is a really kind of narrow handle and then a very wide blade. And it is a little bit blade heavy. You can see that, you know, if I kind of put it on my finger there, it definitely wants to fall forward. But again, I don't think that that really detracts from the knife in any meaningful way. It's just interesting. In fact, the blade on this knife is much bigger than I thought it was going to be based on the size when it's closed and what it kind of looked like in pictures. So it's really just kind of interesting how large the blade is. Now, with regards to this lock bar, it's called a subframe lock in that it's not a titanium frame on this entire side, but this lock bar goes down inside, and maybe if I have a little flashlight we can see that piece of metal in there? That is connecting on the other side to the pocket clip. And so this lock bar just kind of is held in there securely, you know, through this area here and maybe some other interior parts that I can't really see well. But it's nicely designed into this handle so that it acts like a frame lock, but it's only a partial. One thing that I do find a little bit of an ergonomic issue is the way that you disengage it. You can see that little piece sticking up right here. That's basically what your thumb has to grab onto to disengage the lock bar. So it can get a little bit difficult because that's a tiny surface for the pad of your thumb to engage the lock bar. And you can see the blade comes out pretty well. It doesn't have a really strong detent, which is fine with me because it has just a strong enough detent to make it a good flipper, but you can still use the thumb studs to open it up slowly and flick it out with the thumb studs. There's a little bit of jimping on the blade here, and it's a relatively thick blade stock. This jimping, I don't really find it that functional. It's not, you know, it has this kind of this big smooth pad here, and it just really doesn't do a whole lot, I think. So I could do without it, honestly, but it looks okay and it's not annoying, so I'm fine with it. The Stonewash on the whale shark is kind of interesting, and I think this is the same with a lot of Microtechs. It sort of is not your typical Stonewash. You can see the grind lines in the grind there especially, and then you can kind of see the Stonewash too. Whereas on another knife, like on the Sabenza, you don't really see the grind lines at all. You just see that Stonewash, and otherwise it's totally smooth. So this is kind of like what I would consider almost like a cross between a satin finish and a Stonewash. Another thing Microtech loves to do is to put all this writing on the blade. You've got everything on here: a serial number, a born on date, made in the USA, the name of the knife, and the name of the manufacturer, Microtech, and S35VN. So I don't know, it's a lot of good information, I guess, but I mean, personally, I would kind of like it if it was just like the other side where there's really nothing going on. So, but that's just me, and it's not really a big deal. So overall, the whale shark, I really like this knife, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, it kind of is going along with my current sort of obsession with flippers, and especially flippers that have bearing systems right now. I also just picked up this CRKT Shenanigan. This is the aluminum version, and it seems like a lot of people right now have picked up this knife. I know that Weavers of Eternity, Tim over there, and Alexander E. Dietz recently just picked up the Shenanigan, and also Be Active Life. He had a contest where he was giving one of these away, and that's kind of what sparked my interest in this knife, because I've always kind of really liked it and wanted to try it out, and then I saw his video on it and I just decided to go ahead and get it, because I just think it's really cool. And it's another flipper. This one comes out really good, really well. It's a liner lock, and there's just something about a liner lock flipper that I really like. But yeah, cool knife, and not too bad as far as the price on this one. Definitely on the more affordable side of things. So I would recommend it. I really like it. So anyway, this is the whale shark. I hope you enjoyed the videos. Please leave a comment, let me know what you think. And if you aren't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to have some other cool stuff to show you. So there you go. Take care, and I'll see you next time.